Hi, this is Marcus Guiliano from HealthyChefDude.com, and many of you know that I'm a restaurateur, I'm a chef, and I'm really concerned, or I'm on the kick of being green. Today a big article came out with Mario Batali on how his green efforts are, and it's great when celebrity chefs step up and do all that kind of stuff. I want to talk to you about some efforts that I'm doing here and give you an example. This right here, Jamie, if you can take a shot of this. This right here is a compost pile that is from a full year of all of the vegetable scraps that come out of my kitchen. Not a large restaurant, but we do a nice number for what we do, for our size. So this right here is one full year of green scraps, but not only is it from the green scraps from the kitchen, this is also last year's garden things, some weeds and stuff that was picked. So there's a bunch of leaves in here that were actually raked up and put in. So this pile is kind of looking large. Until we added the leaves and everything, it was at least halfway down. Now what's going to happen is we've saved an immense amount going into a regular dumpster by doing this. And this is very easy to do because you can buy tubs now, or boxes, or things that actually, drums that are actually suspended that will do this where you throw the stuff in and compost and use it as soil. So this right here is actually going to be turned up tomorrow and then distributed through the garden here. Want to show them the garden, Jamie? Distributed through the garden. We're getting ready to plant, and it'll be all tilled in. So actually everything in here is going to be used. Now we could put a tarp on here and mix it up and put a tarp in there and cover it, and it starts baking in the sun and starts really decomposting. But right underneath this layer here, it doesn't go far, and there's actually some good some really phenomenal soil in there. There's tons and tons of earthworms. Now I want to give you an example over here of something that of how compost is really working. This is actually a plant in here from last year, a kale or something that was part of the garden last year, and it came back this year. It's beautiful. We're actually going to pick this here any day now. So right here is really how a compost works. If you see the bottom soil down here, this is all soil. This started as things like potatoes, onions, peppers, banana peels, onion peels, and as you go down, see, all this is all pure soil in here. This soil is actually ready to go. So that's essentially what's happening in the big pile. I did this one as an example to see, and there's biodegradable coffee filters in here and everything. There's coffee grinds, no animal products, no dairy products, nothing like that. Cantaloupe, and this stuff this stuff originally was about this tall, I believe, and I had a container on top. It was this tall, and as this decomposes, it actually shrinks and cooks, basically cooking and shrinking. So that's how that happens. Now this will be tilled up and distributed through the garden, but if you think about it, like a household would probably produce about this much a year, I would say, and you could actually decompose it and really utilize this in fertilizer gardening. See, there's a lot of activities on here, a lot of these yellow flies around here, and
what can you actually do with the compost once it's down to the bottom?
Down to here?
Once the whole thing looks like that.
Down like that, it's soil. You use this to plant. You put it in, you put it into your garden, you put it into your yard, you put it into potting plants, you mix it with soil for potting plants, because this is extremely nutritious. Now every year when we have a compost here, this compost pile will actually, you can see they just threw some broccoli in here today, on top of here. Tons of stuff will actually grow from this compost pile because of all the seeds in here and all the nutrients. And I've got to tell you, I've had compost piles before where the potatoes have grown bigger in the compost pile than the actual ones we've planted in gardens. And
tomato plants too.
Tomatoes too. In Colorado, we had a compost pile, small compost pile at the house, and the potatoes and stuff that grew out of here, the leaves were greener, and we had stuff planted just 15 feet away in regular soil. And the idea was to get the compost into the soil, but it was our first year, and the potatoes were greener, the leaves were greener, the potatoes were bigger, tomatoes that were growing out of it. It was really an incredible process. So this stuff here is extremely nutrient dense. Now we're going to go through, because there's a couple pieces of garbage in here that have blown around through the yard and come in from the street that were actually thrown on top of here today. Little, like a can in there and stuff. So we're going to actually go in and really clean that all up, go by hand tomorrow, and pick anything out that's big enough that's not going to decompose. Like that's going to go in the garbage. There's a coconut shell in here, which is going to take a lot longer to decompose. But really underneath there is an immense amount of nutrients, an immense amount of nutrition. And to think that this is all from the scraps of one single restaurant. Now imagine if more restaurants did this. It would be incredible. Because again, like how that thing is this tall, and it was this tall to begin with, this thing would have been huge and huge. We would have filled up probably probably 10 dumpsters with all the lettuce and stuff that actually went into it. And because it's going into a landfill doesn't really mean it's decomposing properly because it's mixed with a lot of things. Here we can actually use it and everything, all the energy comes back. So, Jamie, any other questions?
No. Maybe what can you do with the compost when it smells, or?
Compost sometimes does smell, and that's one of the things.
But there's a reason for it, isn't there? Because it doesn't have enough.
I can't get into the depth of the video here of how to compost properly, and you can go online and look at that. I just really want to demonstrate how one restaurant can make a huge difference and use it. There is a system to composting, layering, mixing, and that's why the drums work the best. If you buy one of those drums that's turned, all the directions come in there. You can get something on YouTube or on the internet where they can really see it. But if it smells or something, it's off. And if I know one thing, if your compost smells right now and you're turning it up, get some dirt on top of it. By putting dirt on top of it, you'll eliminate that smell. That will easily eliminate that. Then go on the internet and look up, because you probably need to add some greens or some dried stuff, things like that. You have to really balance. You just can't throw a couple bushels of bananas out here and expect them to decompose properly, because you need a lot of different characteristics going into it. So, but this was just to demonstrate how one restaurant can make a huge difference by not filling up a ton of dumpsters and going to a landfill and this and that. So, this is just one green initiative that'll make a huge difference in restaurants and at your house. So I encourage you to compost and leave some remarks, some comments on your compost, and let us know what's going on. Thanks. Marcus Guiliano, healthychef2.com. And you can also find me at Aroma Thyme Bistro.com. That's where this compost pile is. And tomorrow, this whole garden is going to be transformed. They're going to have built beds, raised beds in here tomorrow. This will be totally tilled in and picked through and really done properly. This is just the first stage. It's the first day that we've actually been out in the garden and getting things going.
It's a beautiful day for it.
And it's a beautiful day, and it's April, what's today's date, the 14th? 14th. April 14th, so it's still early in the year. We have another frost warning for another month, but we really have a head start in this year because we've had a phenomenal spring. So hope that helped, and hope to talk to you guys. Thanks.